Is it animal agriculture or animal cruelty? A special prosecutor will soon decide if criminal charges should be filed against the operators of Ridgeland Farms.
It's a massive dog breeding farm west of Madison. Fox 6 investigator Brian Polson joins us here in studio for a look beyond the barbed wire.
Yeah, guys, thousands of beagle puppies born at Ridgeland Farms were never meant to live in a happy home like yours and mine. They were bred to be lab experiments. Animal rights groups have been targeting the commercial breeder for years. Now they're finding unlikely allies in Washington who want to put an end to painful experiments on man's best friend. It doesn't take a scientist.
You're such a good pup.
To see Maggie is living her best life.
Claim to fame is she loves to climb trees.
She climbs trees?
Climbs trees.
Her sense of adventure may be unique, but her heart is classic beagle.
They're incredibly trusting, just really sweet dogs.
And that's why Van Artsen was shaken.
I had no idea.
When she learned about this place.
People just don't know what's happening behind closed doors.
On a remote hillside west of Madison, Ridgeland Farms is one of the last large-scale operations in America that purpose breeds beagle puppies for scientific experiments. From here along the road, we are about 500 feet away from the building that houses more than 3,000 beagles. And while the sound of barking dogs is faint, it is constant and unmistakable. The farm is surrounded by barbed wire.
Even before you get close to the facility, you smell it.
But 8 years ago, Wayne Chung got inside. He is a former Northwestern University law professor turned animal rights activist.
So loud you literally cannot hear yourself talk.
And in 2017, he and 2 others entered one of Ridgeland's unlocked buildings in the middle of the night.
The lights never turn off.
To conduct what they call an open rescue.
But this poor puppy has never lived outside this cage. She's going around and around in circles because she has nothing to do all day.
They took 3 dogs, then left and published the evidence online.
If the only way we can get any attention on what's happening inside Ridgeland Farms is for them to prosecute us, then we have to do that.
It took the Dane County District Attorney 4 years to charge the 3 activists with burglary and theft. But last year, just 2 weeks before trial, Ridgeland asked the DA to drop all charges, citing unconfirmed death threats.
Without the court case moving forward, there would be no opportunity to bring into a court of law, put into the formal record of the government of Wisconsin that dogs were being abused.
So Shung and a group called Dane for Dogs turned the tables.
This is kind of a last gasp hope.
They petitioned the court to appoint a special prosecutor, this time to seek criminal charges against Ridgeland Farms.
Your Honor.
It was so hard to sit in that courtroom.
In a public hearing last fall, former employees testified.
I would hold them as tight as I could so they wouldn't wiggle around.
About participating in crude but routine surgeries to remove dogs' swollen eye glands.
Literally all they did was take a tweezers, pull it up, and take a scissors and cut it.
Or to eliminate their ability to bark.
And then they would just reach down the throat with the scissors and just cut the vocal cords. And then just kind of throw it on the floor to be washed down the drain later.
Was anesthesia ever used in these procedures?
No.
Was there any blood control?
No.
Was there a lot of blood in these procedures?
Yes.
Last year, state inspectors found inadequate waste drainage at Ridgeland, undocumented injuries, and a failure to ensure the farm's 3,200 dogs get daily positive human contact.
They never step outside. They never get a chance to go on a walk. They never have a kind touch.
Ridgeland Farms did not respond to our request for an interview, but last week,
I'm Dr. Richard Van Damme.
Their lead veterinarian implored the state's veterinary examining board not to suspend his license.
I respectfully ask that you consider doing this so in a collaborative manner and talking with me, veterinarian to veterinarian.
And in December, he told state inspectors Ridgeland Farms is not doing anything wrong.
We're constantly under assault by activists who oppose the nature of the work that we do. But what we do is entirely lawful.
Ridgeland was founded in 1966. A few years before the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission funded this book, which explains the #1 reason beagles make great research dogs, their temperament.
They're some of the most, loving and affectionate dogs.
The beagle won't fight back. They're docile, they're small, and they're gentle.
In In the 1960s and 70s, government researchers exposed beagles to radiation and injected them with toxic chemicals. In 1975, an undercover journalist in England snapped this photo of beagle puppies forced to inhale cigarette smoke, sparking a global backlash. But 50 years later, beagles remain popular research subjects.
Someone has to say, this is madness.
Animal rights activist Jeremy Beckham says the Ridgeland case has opened a window into a largely hidden industry.
It's so rare that the world of animal research or the world of breeding animals for animal research has anyone outside of it looking under the hood.
According to the USDA, more than 28,000 animals are housed in laboratories across Wisconsin, and more than 3,600 of them, or 13%, are dogs. Some are at public research institutions like the University of Wisconsin, but most are housed at LabCorp, a private drug development firm in Madison, which tells Fox 6 its practices are ethical and lead to medical advances.
These therapies that come out of this research not only go on to benefit the dogs themselves, but also humans.
Naomi Charlambakis is with Americans for Medical Progress, and she says insulin was first discovered through research on dogs.
It really helps researchers understand how a disease operates, or, how basic biological processes work.
But longtime critics are finding unexpected allies.
These are God's creatures, and they're beautiful.
In Washington,
over $20 billion a year of taxpayers' money is still wasted annually on ineffective and inhumane tests on tens of millions of puppies, kittens, and other animals.
Justin Goodman is senior vice president of the White Coat Waste Project, founded by a right-wing political consultant.
Animals don't care who you vote for. They just want to stop being tortured in laboratories.
In 2021, the organization tied overseas experiments that exposed beagles to bites from diseased sandflies to funding from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Led at the time by Dr. Anthony Fauci.
It's disgusting that we're being forced to pay for it.
And that has fiscal conservatives teaming up with liberal activists to cut funding for animal research.
Especially with the advent of DOGE and the new administration coming in and looking for ways to cut, slashing spending that hurts puppies and kittens is something that can unite everyone.
Increasingly, the fight against animal cruelty is a bipartisan fight.
I think there's a lot of common ground kind of on both sides of the aisle.
Van Artsen is not just a beagle lover. She is also a scientist at the University of Wisconsin. And while she does not speak for the university, she is co-founder of the Marty Project, which advocates for alternative research methods, like using microchips that mimic human organs instead of animals.
I think researchers will be the first to say that there are limitations with using animal models. And so if we can move towards more human relevant methods, I think that's just a win-win for everybody.
But change, she says, takes time. For now, she's focused on trying to free a few thousand floppy-eared inmates.
I see my Maggie. I see, that could have been her.
Who've never seen a tree, much less climbed one. Last week, a state veterinary board investigator called for the immediate suspension of Dr. Rich Van Domelen's license. They say he delegated surgical procedures like eyelid removal and tooth extraction to non-veterinarians who did not use anything for pain relief. However, the board voted not to suspend him for now, on the condition that all surgeries at Ridgeland are performed only by licensed vets using local and general anesthesia. Meanwhile, La Crosse County DA Tim Grinke has been appointed as special prosecutor to investigate possible criminal charges against Ridgeland Farms. Now, we know you may have questions, so if you have your smartphone handy, grab it, open up the camera, and point it at that code on your screen, then click the link. That's going to take you right to an online form where you can ask me a question about this investigation, about Ridgeland Farms. You can also go to the Fox Local mobile app to find this story and submit your question there. I'm going to be back later on in this newscast to answer some of your questions.